Why getting older is actually becoming more of yourself every day? This is the first question that came in my mind before I could step into the next video. I'm not sure if you have, uh, if this thought has ever come across, but this is something that I just felt that maybe we need to tap into. Welcome back to A Dragon Speaks. I'm so glad you're here. And lately, I've been hearing from so many people who feel like time is slipping away, like your best years are behind you. So, have you seen these trending format like Bring Back 2016? I mean, that's where I'm also trying to come from, like trying to speak about in this topic. But I just want to ask you, when you look in the mirror today, and not necessarily that you have to look into the mirror. It's maybe when you just sit and probably just do nothing and your mind just wanders away. Do you feel like you're losing yourself or finally you're gaining your truth? Let's take a deep breath together and talk about why getting older is actually the bravest thing you will ever do. There are few things I have sad and written down. Let me tell you, before I'm here to speak with you, I did sit with myself and think about it. It wasn't easy because, when something becomes like a task, uh, it becomes quite difficult for me. It's like deep in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I have to do this, I have to complete this. And no matter what, I have to think what it is. I would like to think from a free mind, like something should come naturally. So, yes, I did sit and I found like about 10 things which would give us the answer of why getting older is actually becoming more of yourself every day. The first point that I have written is because we have already experienced multiple situations and circumstances in life to understand, we do not have to entertain the things that's not benefiting us anymore. So, this is something that I would like to put it this way. From the time you were born, say from the time you have started understanding few things, even as a child, there are some children who are able to understand many things at a very young age. So, say you have been groomed differently since you were young up to your 20s, and then suddenly you're out of your college and you start looking for a job, you start working for many years, depending upon how each and every individual experiences. So, those years that we have been experiencing, like, say the first few years, uh, knowing your family, your friends, your close ones, which are uh, in a very small circle, those are the first point of contact that you would be learning from. Those are your experiences and situations. And then, second, as soon as you hit adulthood and when you start working, you again are introduced to a completely different atmosphere. And I am going to say this in a shortcut because maybe probably someday, if any of you have a question in mind, you can probably write down in the comment section, and maybe I can think and speak about that in a particular subject. But as of now, what I'm trying to say is that from the time you are a child and say until now, the experiences, the situations, circumstances that you have already come across, you have already understood multiple things from there. Maybe you may not be thinking about this, that maybe you might not actually think like that, but this is real. You have been coming across a lot of things in life, and knowingly, unknowingly, you have learned, and you've learned the tactics of how to handle them, or maybe just not able to handle them. So after we have learned these many things, these experiences, what happens is a time comes where you're able to segregate what is good and what is bad, or what is benefiting you as for your well-being, and which is not. So that's my first point. So which is why probably, you know, you're becoming more of yourself day by day. We will hop on to the second point. Because we have reached a stage we understand negativity is a waste of time and energy. All right. I think many of you will agree with me on this. Once you grow up, especially in your 30s, or probably even some of you in your 20s, I think age doesn't matter, but understanding matters. So once you hit that understanding, and no matter what the age, once you understand that negativity is actually quite a draining energy for you, you will absolutely run away from it. You will not want to deal with anything that is going to drain your energy, drain your mind, and drain your time, your precious time. That comes only when you reach adulthood, you reach a particular understanding. So, I, so negativity, what is negativity? Negativity is something that probably might just not only mean that you have to connect with someone in order for you to experience this. Sometimes, even you yourself, you have your own negativities, your own thoughts that you're battling every second, or every minute, or every day. Say, for example, if you are the kind of person who likes to keep it to yourself and does not like to say much, there will be certain things that will run around your mind. And sometimes without releasing them, say without having to speak with the right person, or because you don't have anybody that you can, let out your thoughts, which is very common. It is not just you. Most of us do feel that, like, we don't have um somebody who can really we can really rely our thoughts with, because, like I said, trust is really important. So once you are able to understand this about yourself, I think everything starts with yourself, right? Even with me, if every day, say, I have to live my life thinking that it's never enough, whatever I have right now is not enough, I am going to suffer gradually. Because believe it or not, that it requires only that much of thought to actually bring everything into life. I believe most of the time it is upon us. Yes, external factors does matter. External contact does uh, make things even more difficult for you, but that is secondary, is what I'm saying. The first thing is yourself. Because I think over here, in Earth Dragon Speaks, right? Like, I would want all of us to to basically heal our inner self first. That is the very basic thing. Once you are a master of understanding yourself, right? Understanding your flaws, understanding your negatives, is when you'll be able to understand how to deal with something that is a negativity that's coming towards you. Otherwise, how else will you know? You think just by seeing reels or just by watching a movie, you'll understand all this? Yeah, maybe to some extent. But the personal experiences that you face with yourself, that is something your system will remember, your nervous system will remember. These from reels or from shorts or from YouTube, uh, even whatever I'm telling you, some of the things maybe you may understand because you might have faced them. Maybe you might understand whatever I'm trying to say, but there will be a lot of people, a lot of you who might be just watching me for the first time, and your life may be quite different from the rest of us. Maybe don't be too curious about it, but just try to understand, oh, something like this exists. It's like, you're learning something new. Maybe one day you may have to understand someone's situation, but because of this conversation we are having right now, you're understanding something. So I don't want to stretch this particular point about negativity, but I think if you have already experienced the situation, you'll understand why when you reach adulthood, you do not want to indulge yourself with that. Staying away from negativity is actually beneficial for your mental health. And the third point is, because we stop people pleasing when we were young, we were still trying to fit in situations we are not even comfortable. So this is actually it's actually a very deep situation. And why I say that is because when we were young, right? Like, especially when you just pass college or you just got out of universities, that is the time where you are still figuring it out of your own. I mean, on your own, about yourself. We sometimes we lose that identity. We are unable to see ourselves with the people around you. We like, say for example, I am new to this. I School life is fine because you have been together with your friends, and believe me or not, but there are quite behaviors that you actually develop within you during school time from your friends. See, sometimes there'll be that one particular word that you may not be actually speaking by yourself. There'll be that one sentence, if somebody keeps speaking every day, sometimes that can influence you, and you use that particular word the same way every time you are away from that person, I mean, off school. So that is just a small influence I'm talking about. There are quite bigger influences. So then you go to college, and in college, you start meeting a little bit different a level of mindset. Some may be good, some may be moderate, some may be, uh, God knows, there are quite a lot of different people that we meet every day. So, why I said about people pleasing. So, I think for me especially, I may not be able to speak about anyone else apart from myself. Um, it was quite a different kind of a childhood that I experienced. So I could blend with anybody. I I'm not sure if I should be bragging about that or that's concerning, right? So I've always felt different about myself and how another person is. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to say that, oh, I'm great and the others are not. I actually used to think that I was quite weird and others are quite normal. So it's the opposite. And I would probably blend in. I would try to blend in. I would say, if you're good to me, I would be good. I mean, at that age, I was mostly good to everybody because I was naive, I was quite innocent. And luckily, I have not met, I mean, yes, I have met quite a mix of people, the good, the bad, everything all in one. It's not that I've not had friends. I've had many friends in school and colleges. You cannot ignore any of that. You will naturally make friends. But what I was trying to say is that we people please. We sometimes please the people around us so that, we can be one of them. Just, so we have a company. But if you take that to an extreme level, and if you keep continuing that when you are old, then it's bad. Because in life, that is not normal. That is not normal. We are not supposed to be pleasing people, whatever they want to do. No, you are supposed to know what is right and what is wrong, no matter what the age is. If you are listening to me or you come across my video, um, try to think about this statement I made. And if you have any doubts, you can just write down in the comment section or you can just send me an email. Um, so I think that's much about it. It's quite a simple one. Okay, the next one is because we understand that keeping a boundary is the only way we can have a space for peace. Why this sounds funny to me is because I learned about boundary quite late in life, quite late. And I am learning every day about boundary. What do you think? So, when I say boundary, right, it's like practically, if I have to say, it's like, like you take, for example, you have a scale or a ruler, and then in the page, like, say, for example, it's a plain page, and you underline so that you can keep all the pointers here on the left side of your page so that you can write beautifully on the right side. So that's practically or technically speaking, that's what I feel boundary is. Like, if you have to present anything, you have to keep it neat and clean. But the boundary that I'm talking about is boundaries in our lives and our daily activities. It's it's quite it's a big topic when it comes to boundaries. I never knew about boundaries. Imagine, it's that tough. So, learning about boundaries, how to keep boundaries from people or situations in life is not a very easy thing to speak about or to even apply in your daily life. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts For example, this is just an example that's randomly popping in my mind right now. See, if you have a friend and that friend keeps, you know, using your, uh, say, your phone every day, they keep using your phone because they don't have a phone of their own. And you, because you are a nice person and you have not learned about boundaries, you don't know about boundaries, you allow them to an extent where they feel comfortable with your phone. And every time they see you, they are just happy to, not because they see you, they're happy that to know that they can use your phone. So every day becomes a routine. And then one day, when probably it has crossed 15 times, maybe somewhere you start getting a hint. This is not normal. I mean, this is my phone. And why is it in someone else's hand? Why? And imagine you're so nice that you cannot even say anything. And you just have to keep quiet and just keep giving until that person actually becomes so confident and uses your stuff every time they need. So who is at fault here? Who is at fault? This is where I was telling you that it is not that easy to apply boundaries in a daily life, because if you are a good person, you may actually not be able to confront that person and say that, this is not right, because you might lose that friendship with them. It's the fear that is not allowing you to say anything to that person. But yes, of course, I think with time, if provided, I'm not sure, it's different with different ages, with the ages category. See, if we are in our 30s, probably that situation might have not even happened until and unless one of them is immature, right? So if I think at this age we should be mature. Yes, unfortunately, uh, some of some of the people do not mature at an early age. It takes time for them to learn things. But that was just my example about boundaries. That was just one example. Imagine boundaries in relationships, like love relationships, boundaries between you and your parents, boundaries between you and your children, boundaries between you and your colleague, the boundaries between you and a stranger you don't even know. So I wouldn't be able to wrap things up in one particular video. So, which is why I just wanted to, that's just one of the pointers which I wanted to speak about, that fits the title that I chose to speak today for you. So, maybe I will not stretch about boundary. Maybe someday I will speak about boundaries. I have a lot to speak. Now, the fifth point is because we are at a certain stage in life where we understand our priorities. Wow, that is a massive majority right there. When I just say priorities, instantly what comes into your mind when I speak about priorities? List them in the comment section if you think, I've missed out anything and you'd like to add from what I have spoken so far. Wow, priorities. Quite a big word. So, unfortunately, there's quite a lot of people that I have seen, I have understood, including myself, when it comes to priorities. So there are a few of us who understands priorities at a very young age, and there are few who takes those stages in life and then comes to a point and then finally understand what is that. So priorities, if I have to think, say randomly, if I have to think about myself right now in my 30s, I'd be thinking about my job security, or I would think about my family, my, how to um, function uh, as that, elder in the family, because there's a lot of youngsters growing up in your house, and you have to be an example to each one of them how you should not be screwing up things just because. So priorities, I think, are going to be different for different people and different ages. Say you could be 15 years old and you could be actually working just to provide for your family. Like you could be sacrificing your studies just so that your younger siblings can actually go to school. There are real life situations like that. I don't think so all of us are unknown to this fact. There's so many, especially in the villages. I have seen many people, who are quite younger to me, taking on these responsibilities in the family and choose their priorities. In fact, I do feel bad for them because at that age, you would have to understand a lot of things what a 25-year-old would understand. It's quite disheartening. But unfortunately, life is so cruel that we have to go through certain things to, probably it's for your own good, or I'm not sure what is sometimes. So that's what I wanted to say about priorities. So at this age, uh, you say if you are a family person, so right after work, say you've ended your shift for the day, and your friends, they just want to hang out after your shift, and they decide to go for, hang out in a cafe, or just go out for lunch or dinner. But deep in your mind, you remember that you have priorities, because some of us, after work, we have to go back home, we have to cook and then feed our family. And it's not a complaint that I'm speaking about. It's something that's nice that we do that for our family, right? So instead of wasting that time, see, it's not a waste of time, but sometimes these are priorities. Instead of you going and going out with your friends for that day, you choose to reduce your time outside by getting home early, so that you can probably make a nice meal for everyone around. So I think priorities are different for different people, but these are just small examples that I'm just stating over here. Next one is number 6. I'm not sure why I even wrote this, because most of us have a family responsibilities. We become more aware of the things required for us to play a part in life. I think I pretty much covered that in priorities. So we will skip this family responsibilities. I think it's quite, we can understand this. Like I said, I gave you that example of how you would choose to not hang out with your friends after your shift, and then you would prioritize to go back home. I think that's pretty much the same thing which I said in point number 5. Next point is seven. I've mentioned because we understand the bigger the circle of friends, the smaller your space for yourself. The smaller your circle of friends, the more time you have to work on the things that is important. So do not get offended when I say this. The smaller the circle of friends. So you'll have to keep in mind when I speak about certain things that it may not suit everybody. It may suit some of us, but it may not suit everybody. So the things that do not you don't feel that I'm right, you don't have to criticize anything for that. Just let it go, because I know that not everybody can relate to certain things. Even me myself, when I watch something or I listen to someone, there are quite a lot of things which doesn't make sense, but it doesn't mean that it is of no value. It is no value for that particular time for you, but it may be of a value to someone else, right? So smaller circle of friends. Okay. uh do you believe in a bigger circle of friends or a smaller circle of friends? This you will not understand when you're young. When you're young, you're friends with everybody. When you're young, the more the merrier, because at that age, you still don't understand what life is all about. See, even if you've matured early as well, there'll still be a lot of things that'll be running in your mind because you are a child, you are still a youngster. But for a person who has grown up, say in their 20s or above, you will start seeing a pattern that not everybody is actually aligned with what you think, with what you believe. And that takes time. It takes time. Even when I was in my late 20s as well, I think I was pretty much having a big circle. Maybe not that big a circle of 10 or 15. It's quite small to think about it. But for me, if it's even five, it's overwhelming because it's five different people. And as you know, as a human being, I've learned that from from myself. I don't think so I have to sit and study anyone else. I mostly sit and study myself, and which is why I think I'm here today on YouTube and I'm speaking about this. You know, we all have so many personalities within ourselves, and not necessarily that they are you know splits personalities, or those are again, science terms and something to do with health. What I'm saying is, me, say for example, I'll talk about myself. In a single day, I will have to manage a lot of things. And say I have to cook, I have to clean, I have to work, I have to think about my family, and say I have to think about what I need to speak on YouTube, right? So these are like multiple things. And imagine you're sick on that day, but you still have to function, right? If there are certain kinds of sickness where you can still manage to do all of these things, there your mood changes, right? And this is not a personality, but what I'm saying is these are the kind of things that only from one single person, just from yourself, that you have. You could be happy, you could be sad, you could be everything in a day, which could be unpredictable, which could be something that You may not know that could happen. So imagine, just from myself, I am throwing these so many energies when I'm just alone. Imagine having five friends. You will have to still send them a message. You'll have to connect with them. You'll have to understand them as well. You'll have to probably counsel if it's required. And probably they go through a rough phase, and you probably have to listen to them. So, so these are the kind of things I'm trying to say, that, when you start growing up, you will learn through your own experiences of how you could filter from a group, from a big circle to a small circle. Like, you'll start understanding who to exactly keep in your life, right? So when we are young, we don't have this control. That thought wouldn't even come across our mind, because we're like chilled out at that time. We're like happy. We don't have so much of responsibilities to think about this, and we're just like, I just want to live like this. But trust me, when you start growing up, you'll have no other choice. Your awareness will be dumped in your mind, and you'll start understanding everything automatically. And it can be overwhelming. So maybe with time, and with situations and with your experiences, you will finally understand that having a small circle will not only benefit you, it will actually it will actually be much more better. Because why? Say having 10 people, and they may have so many different things that they will be facing in their life, right? And imagine they all come to you because you're a person, like, who naturally understands. It is not easy. And here I think I am also um I think I'm also targeting a particular kind of a personality, or a person who probably is the one who sits and understand things. It is not good for that person. If you are that kind of a person who loves to listen to others, and who would like to help by consoling them, it is up to you. If you are given that kind of a power to handle all this, maybe even 10 people also you will be able to handle, right? That's how it is. And it's like a situational base. I am not pointing out on anyone. I'm just speaking randomly through an experience, or through my imagination, and like a certain situation that we can, like, imagine in our mind. So I think that's pretty much about why a small circle would be more easier than a bigger circle when you reach a certain age. Okay, next point is number 8. I have written, authenticity and integrity becomes your friends. It's so funny. I don't know how did that come into my mind, to be honest. I'm not that great in putting up words together, but I think after I've mentioned this is when I actually start thinking it's true. So let's look up what authenticity means. Authenticity is the quality of being genuine and real, where your external behavior matches your inner thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Right? And what is integrity? Integrity is the consistent, uncompromising adherence to a code of moral or ethical principles. So, say integrity, say authenticity is about you being that person, and integrity is about doing. So it means that your actions, decisions, and words form a complete and undivided unit over time. So a person with integrity keeps their word, follows through on promises, and takes full responsibilities of their mistakes. I think when I started, when I, uh, when I was just digging deep into this, I was like, really, that is true. I mean, it just came out of my mind, but it is true. Authenticity and integrity are your friends when you grow up. I'll tell you why. All these other points which I've spoken earlier, it comes to this now. Being authentic is the key to life, but you will not understand that very early in your life. I don't think so. You may have followed it, but you may not have completely understood this about yourself. Because if I have to remember it from myself as well, I think I have been following authenticity here and there, few stages in my life. I mean, most of the stages in my life, and integrity too. So it's like whatever you do, whatever you promise, you deliver that, and you're just being yourself. You're just whatever you're thinking or however you are, the person you are on the inside is the person you are on the outside. That is authenticity. And say if I am, you know, since right now I want to be committed in doing this, in building this community for Earth Dragon Speaks. So I would like to, really follow that. I would like to keep my words. I don't want to say promise because promise is something like, I'm telling specifically. I think these are the kind of things that you don't want to say to someone, like, I promise you. I mean, promise is something that probably you use it when you really have to, when it's required. But building a community and seeing everybody, well uh, and fine in life is something that I always um, have imagined. I cannot imagine a world, to live in a world of hate, to live in a world where there is no peace. And it all starts with yourself. And I think if I have come across this about myself, I think it's quite possible for all of us to follow the same. So, being authentic, don't get carried away by, by the meaning, literal meaning of the term authenticity. See, if you, you have these quirks, like, you have these, there's a certain thing, a behavior about us that not everybody will like it publicly, right? Maybe there will be who will appreciate whatever you're saying, you're being real for it. But there are situations where you will have to take a second thought before you actually publicly say it. I don't know if you will agree with me on this. You know why the world is like this? Why why is it like this? It's because half of the times people don't know how to keep the things that they are not supposed to be out in public. They're just supposed to keep it within themselves or speak in a room where there is a chance for you to grow, and someone out there appreciates your difference and sit with you and understand and probably, give you a couple of advices and counseling advices, I would say, not counseling. So I think That is where the major problem is happening right now. Whatever you see, you have to say it. Whatever you do, you have to say it. There are certain things where you can do it. It's not that it's a rule to not follow it. And don't get offended. I am not targeting anybody. I don't even know you. Okay. So, what I'm saying is, where we are supposed to be quiet, we've opened our mouth. We are supposed to open our mouth, we are quiet. So, there are a lot of things that is misplaced, misbalance here and there in life, which will work out if we choose to first understand ourselves. That is a very important thing, to understand ourselves first. Nine, spiritually aligned. I have only mentioned that much. This is one of my favorite topic, spirituality. So if say if authenticity is knowing who you are and integrity is acting on it, spiritual alignment is the peace that happens when those two things are in total harmony with the universe or a higher purpose. So you'll reach that point where life feels less like a struggle and more like you're being carried by the current. Opportunities seem to arrive just when you need them. Um, you know, it just happens. And you'll always probably prefer intuition over logic. Like, you stop overthinking and start trusting your gut, and you make decisions based on what feels expansive rather than what just looks good on paper. And it's more about more internal peace than external validation. You no longer need the world to tell you you are doing a good job. You have a quiet confidence because you know you are on the right path, right? You do the work because it feels right, not because you are obsessed with the outcome. You trust that if you are aligned, the results will take care of themselves. So that is what I think spiritually aligned means. And it's beautiful. One day when you reach that, you will remember me saying this. It's absolutely wonderful to be spiritually aligned. That is the point. That is the whole point. Some of us might be lucky to learn um, about spirituality from I mean, we all have learned about spirituality from a young age. But then, like I said, if you are 15 and you speak about spirituality, how will that even make sense to somebody who was even young? Poor thing. We're just trying to figure out at that point of time. There's no way to even understand it. Maybe you can understand it. Maybe someone teaches them, they can understand it. But what is the depth? What is the depth of that understanding is the question. I have not come across anything like that, and maybe it exists. I just don't know, and I have not come across it. I think there are a lot of people in their young age who have understood really very fast about these things, and that's really good. Imagine the younger you are, the better your influence will be. Say, if you are a person at 15 and you're already spiritually aligned, imagine your friends of friends, from you to the others from there. That ripple effect is going to be so beautiful because at that age you can actually influence so many people. to have faith in what you believe, and to be spiritually aligned is not as easy as we think it is, or how the way I'm just saying it right now. No, for me, it isn't. It isn't, it wasn't. I am learning every day, and I choose to do that. I choose to learn every day. That's the whole point we are here in this world, to learn. And it's also really important, to um, have your heart, your mind, everything in harmony, balance. Of course, it's not at all easy. It's impossible. It's next to impossible to even achieve that kind of balance. But if you are doing it, I'm clapping. I'm applauding for you. Hats off to you if you're doing that already. It's it's what everybody needs to do. It's what everybody needs to be. And I'm saying this is because it's not like I'm telling that it's important. It's a stage in life. It doesn't happen just to everybody until some miracle or something happens in this world and we are all spiritually aligned at the same time. It's not your fault if you are not. For some of us, it takes time to understand things. For me, I've had to make like some 50 mistakes. Some of them repeated, some of them not repeated, and only one time. I would have to go through so many mistakes to understand, to finally come into my senses that this does not work. So I am nobody here sitting in my room and telling you that, you've got to be like that. No, it's not easy. It takes time. And if you are in good hands, like you've got your parents who's already teaching you this, or you've got friends who actually speak about this, or maybe just by yourself you figured this out, just like you came across my video and I'm suddenly talking about this. Yay. It's exciting, honestly. But every spiritually aligned person will also have a different way of talking about it. It will not be the same. How I think about being spiritually aligned will be completely different from someone else, maybe. And always remember this. I will also remind you in every time I speak with you. Everybody's life is not the same. It's not the same. There may be a point in your life or a phase that you might have experienced, and I might have experienced, but we still walk a different life. We still have a completely different story, a completely different background, until and unless, I don't know, like maybe we all were just meant to go through that stage so that we learn something, right? So this is a very exciting topic. I am hoping to bring more topics the more we grow, because right now I'm just literally talking to myself, and I don't even know if you're going to be like, commenting or still not sure. Long way to go. So I'll just end this point here, but hopefully in the near future we will be talking about this. Okay, we have reached the last pointer, and I'm so sorry. It's lengthy. I mean, what can I do? So you read more, you like connections, simplicity, ordinary things that aligns with our well-being. I think I pretty much up, like, quite a lot of pointers here. Reading. I think reading is not something that we develop when we are old. We have been reading since we are children. That is the whole point. Again, we keep learning. But some of us, we just study, we don't read. So the read that I'm talking about is, say, right before this, I was just speaking to you about spiritually aligned. So if you are, say, spiritually aligned, you would be curious enough to understand more about spirituality. And then you start gathering these books, and then you start reading them, and then you start understanding the, other people's point of view. But do not be too curious to know each and everything, because sometimes you will come across books which you won't be ready for the truth. And why I'm saying that is, not everything, not everybody is like you, who can completely understand and just grasp what I'm saying, or probably understand. And before you react, you try to understand where I'm coming from. Some of us are also learning uh, a lot of things for the first time. We have to be very careful with that, with such people. There are quite a lot of innocent people who are just, you know, going by with their daily lives every day, and poor thing, they may not even know about all these things yet. So I'm talking about such people. But if you've already crossed that situation, and then you're more, curious to learn about this new phase, about this new personality of yours, or about something that you feel that, okay, this is something for me. It doesn't feel it is someone else's projection, or it is someone else's reflection, but it is a reflection that is very familiar to you. So when I'm talking about read at this age, or yeah, I mean, when especially when you're an adult, I meant that you read to learn about yourself more, to learn about the things which you have not experienced yet. And I have, honestly, I have read quite a lot of books. I've studied, I have read. You think, it's safe for me to just speak whatever I am doing publicly? No, it is not. And again, don't get offended when I say this. I am not talking about you, and I don't know you. All I'm saying is, this is all in the public. Whatever we are speaking, it's all in the public. Anybody can watch it. And I don't know what kind of mindset anybody would have when they are watching me and listening to me. I could be saying and meaning something else. And from what I'm speaking, you could be connecting dots about your life in a different perspective. So, you know, it's quite complex if you think about it that way. So it is, public speaking is what it's not everybody that can do it. In fact, I thought, no, it is not for me. I am not a person who can speak in public. Even until now, when I'm telling you this, I do have slightly that nervousness. But like I told you in my previous video of about why I was not showing my face, and why I did not want to speak, because I did not want to operate from fear. So I had to go through many other circumstances and situations to make myself feel comfortable today and be here in front of the camera. Just looking at myself in the camera is not easy. I mean, knowing that I don't even know what am I going to get out of this, or who is even going to speak, or who is even going to, you know, appreciate. I'm not looking at all that. So basically, that's what I meant when I said by read. And connections. Connections could be anybody. Social media connection, your family connection, friends, anything that is uh, that will you will be having a relationship is called a connection. A relationship with your books is also a connection. You are building a connection with your books. A relationship with your plants, gardening is also a connection with nature. So these connections starts growing and starts developing when you become older, when you start growing up. And next is simplicity. This is so important. uh, I don't know who will agree with me, but I've found out one thing in my life, because I'm the kind of person who really loves, who's more attracted to like complex stuff. And which is why I have learned the hard way to understand how simplicity is life. The more you simplify things, the better your day will be. It can be anything. You could be working, you could be working as a scientist, you could be working as a teacher, you could be doing a lot of things which I don't have a name for, but simplicity, if you add simplicity to each and everything, right, it becomes more comfortable for you. It makes your life, it doesn't fix your life, but it eases your day a bit. It eases your inner self a little bit. And ordinary things that aligns with our well-being. See, I love photography. I'm yet to share about my, my experience with Instagram that I spoke about in my previous video. I'm yet to share that with you. I'm not sure when will that be, but I think it's coming up in the future. Ordinary things, when you tell about, for me, it is like photography. It's not ordinary. I don't think so. It's ordinary, but it's what in photography that I say ordinary is like looking at simple things, observing a flower blooming, or just gazing at this one beautiful flower with a beautiful color growing right beside, just right outside the road. Or I mean, in photography, I'm uh, calling it as ordinary. Or watching a sunset, appreciating the shapes of the clouds. What else? Seeing a squirrel, jumping and playing around, watching them eat, petting a cat, petting a dog. So these are the kind of things which I would like to call ordinary. But I don't think so. And nothing is ordinary. Everything is extraordinary in life. But for me, that is what ordinary is. Like, I just wanted to explain that. The more you connect yourself with ordinary things, like, say, for example, like you could be a busy person, um, but you somewhere have lost touch with cooking, say, for example. And then this one day, you just stood up from whatever you're doing, and you just, discovered a new recipe because you're natural with it. And then you just do it. Imagine that is not ordinary, that is extraordinary about you. But these are a few things that's very much natural, that comes naturally to you, is what I try to say. The pointers are done. 10 points. I honestly, I have not gone and looked in the folder where I have recorded right now, and I'm not at all calculating the time. And I'm really sorry about this. I am not intentionally doing it. It's the way I speak, and probably I'm still trying to figure out. And um, maybe someday I would be able to deliver it in 15 minutes or 10 minutes. I really hope so. I'm not an expert. I'm just a beginner. So please bear with me while I am still learning. So we are coming to the end of this today's topic. I really hope you enjoyed. I really hope you learned something from it, you got some ideas from it. I really hope so. I would only know once you interact with this video. So if in case you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, so this is A Dragon Speaks. I am Vanita, but I would like to say I'm Vin. And please do subscribe this to this channel if you haven't done it yet. And if not, if you think that this video was something interesting, you could, you know, give a like down in the bottom of this video. Or you could share. I'm not sure to whom you can share, but you can share it to yourself as well, and then probably just watch it again later. So I don't want to ask much because I know how it is in the beginning. Usually, it's just me and my reflection. So here is your secret step for today. I want you to write down one thing you know to be true about yourself now that you didn't know 10 years ago. Just honor that growth. Even if you're not mentioning it in the comment section, I just want you to just take like few seconds and think about it and just write it down in your book. Someday probably, if you want to create something or you want to speak something, it might just be helpful for you as well, not just for me. So let me remind you, you are not running out of time. You are finally stepping into it. I'll see you again. Stay sacred.